Most men don't even realize when they've crossed the line from average to highly attractive. They assume attraction is just about looks or money. But true attraction, the kind that triggers obsession, respect, and silent admiration, operates on a much deeper psychological level. Machiavelli knew this. Power doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself through how people react to you. You don't need to ask how you're perceived. The world will show you, through its subtle shifts. In this video, I'll break down 6 powerful signs you've entered this rare space. Signs that most men ignore, and that most women instantly feel. Stay until the end, because each sign you recognize in yourself will give you leverage most men never develop. Miss one, and you'll stay blind to your own rising power. Let's begin. Here's your move. Next time you're in any public space, a bar, a gym, even a simple coffee shop, resist the urge to perform. Control your breathing. Keep your posture tall. Stay still. Watch how many small micro-adjustments women around you unconsciously make. The more you hold your frame, the more you'll see them mirror you without even realizing it. Machiavelli once wrote, "Men adapt themselves naturally to the presence of those they fear or admire." When you radiate stillness, people around you recalibrate. In women, this triggers mirror neurons, pulling them into your gravity. They start matching your posture, your speech rhythm, even your micro-movements, without even realizing why. The weaker man would take this as coincidence. The dominant man sees it as confirmation, because once a woman starts mirroring you, she's already following your lead. Now let's move forward, because the next signal reveals itself not through women, but through how other men start shifting around you. Sign 1. She subconsciously mirrors your energy. One of the earliest, most reliable signals that you've crossed into true masculine attraction isn't verbal. It's subtle, it's primal, and most men miss it completely. When your presence carries power, women don't just notice. Their bodies react before their minds catch up. Their behavior syncs to yours without conscious thought. This is not about game or charm. It's biological submission to your energy. Let's break it down. Imagine this. You're sitting alone at a cafe, completely centered. You're not scanning the room, you're not fidgeting, you're not seeking anyone's attention. You're simply present, stable, and unbothered. Nearby, a woman catches glimpses of you. She shifts in her chair, crosses and uncrosses her legs, touches her hair, adjusts her clothing. When your eyes finally meet, her voice softens, her tone lowers, her breathing slows slightly. She's now operating in your frame, not hers. This isn't flirtation. This is ancient biology responding to controlled masculinity. Sign 2. Other men start competing, even when you haven't played the game. True masculine power doesn't just attract attention, it triggers insecurity. Not from women, from men. The more grounded you become, the more some men feel exposed standing next to you. Because whether they admit it or not, the hierarchy shifts the moment you walk in. Let's visualize it. Imagine you walk into a social gathering. You're calm, relaxed, not even trying to dominate the room. But your posture, your silence, your self-control already signal authority. Now watch what happens. One man, maybe a coworker, maybe a friend of your girl, throws a sarcastic comment at you. Something about your work, your lifestyle, your choices. He disguises it as a joke, but you feel the sharpness underneath. Or picture this. Another man suddenly becomes extra friendly with your woman, asking her detailed questions, laughing a bit too loud. trying to signal value in front of you. The amateur man falls into these traps. He argues. He gets defensive. He feels the need to prove himself. The Machiavellian man stays calm. He lets their noise expose their desperation. And the more composed you remain, the more both women and men recognize your silent dominance. Now let's move forward. Because the next signal isn't about who reacts to you. It's about how doors start opening for you without you even asking. He's not doing it by accident. He's reacting to your presence. Here's your move. When you feel these subtle challenges, the jokes, the jabs, the little games, never engage emotionally. Let them expose their own insecurity. Hold eye contact, smile calmly, and redirect the energy. The less you react, the more they feel your presence as undeniable dominance. Machiavelli understood this exact behavior centuries ago. Power is never possessed peacefully. It must always be defended or seized. What's happening is simple. Your stability triggers their instability. Your confidence exposes their hidden weakness. You haven't challenged them, but they feel challenged. Because without saying a word, you've shifted the invisible power balance. Sign 3. Women subtly engineer opportunities for you to make the first move. Real attraction isn't loud. It operates quietly, like a chess game unfolding beneath the surface. When you radiate strong masculine presence, women don't always chase you directly. They're far too strategic for that. Instead, they build small invitations, micro bridges for you to cross. Let's break it down. Picture this scene. You're in the gym, fully focused on your workout. There are plenty of machines available. Yet, she chooses the one directly next to you, close enough that you feel her presence, but subtle enough to appear coincidental. Then she asks you, "Hey, do you know how to adjust this one?" You both know the answer isn't the point. The question is simply the excuse. She created an opening without risking rejection. Or imagine this. You're standing at the bar. You notice her walk past you once, then again. Each time, a brief glance, a tiny smile. Then she looks away like nothing happened. Sign 4. Your silence commands the room without effort. There's a moment in every interaction where weak men panic. The attention shifts to them, eyes turn, and suddenly, they feel the pressure to speak, to fill the silence, to perform. They blurt out jokes. They over-explain. They ramble, hoping to manage the growing tension, because silence terrifies them. But not you. A highly attractive man does the opposite. He holds the silence. Imagine this. You're seated at a dinner table with 10 people. The conversation becomes heated. Opinions flying, voices rising, everyone competing for airtime. But you sit back. You watch. Your breathing stays slow. Your posture relaxed. Your eyes scan, absorbing everything without reacting. You wait. You let the noise reach its peak. Then, when the room naturally searches for clarity, you speak. Not to prove a point, but to anchor the room. Your voice lands heavier than the 10 voices combined, because your restraint gave your words gravity. Here's why. Every time you resist the urge to fill space, you send a message. I control myself. Therefore, I control this moment. Here's your strategic solution. In every conversation, allow silence to live. Don't feel obligated to respond instantly. Hold your pauses. Let others speak first. The one who controls the rhythm of the conversation silently commands the frame. Machiavelli warned, Few men know how to be silent when silence would serve them best. But silence isn't passive. It's active pressure. It unsettles those who need constant validation. It forces others to adjust to your tempo, not the other way around. Women feel this immediately. In that dinner scene, notice what she does. Her eyes keep returning to you. She leans forward slightly. She watches you carefully, not because you're entertaining, but because your energy holds weight she can't define. Your silence forces people to invest more attention into you. You become the mystery, and mystery is pure psychological leverage. Now let's move forward, because the next sign explains why women instinctively test these men, even when they don't realize they're doing it. She's signaling without speaking, inviting without inviting. Here's your next solution. When you sense these small invitations, like her asking unnecessary questions or positioning herself near you, don't rush to fill the gap. Let her sit in that space. Maintain controlled curiosity. Make her work for your full attention. That tension is the exact seed of obsession. Machiavelli would call this, the wise leader creates paths for others to pursue without exposing his own hand. Women who feel your energy aren't passive. They're simply playing their version of the game. They maintain their feminine leverage by letting you technically initiate, while fully orchestrating the setup behind the scenes. The average man doesn't see these openings. The Machiavellian man does. And he moves with calm precision when the door quietly opens. Now let's move forward, because the next sign isn't about the openings she creates. It's about how silence itself becomes your most powerful signal. Sign 5. Women constantly test your frame and watch how you react. The closer a woman feels drawn to you, the more she will unconsciously test you, not out of malice, not to destroy you, but because her instincts need verification. Her biology is wired for one brutal question. Can I trust this man's strength when the world collapses? And no words will answer that for her. Only your reactions will. Picture this. You're deep into a relationship. Things are smooth. She's affectionate. Then, suddenly, small fires ignite. She questions your decision for a career move. She lightly mocks your opinion during a conversation with friends. She asks, "Why do you always think you're right?" Or gives you that sharp look when another woman enters the room. She's not trying to destroy the relationship. She's unconsciously shaking the tree to see how strong the roots are. Machiavelli understood this law of power deeply. Power untested is power untrusted. If you collapse under the weight of her tests, by arguing, defending, explaining, or begging, her attraction erodes. But if you hold your frame, by remaining calm, composed, and unaffected, her trust in you expands. Here's your action. Never try to argue your strength. When tested, reduce your words. Slow your tempo. Hold eye contact. Speak once, with clarity, then disengage emotionally. Let her feel that her challenge bounced off your frame like a stone hitting steel, because every test you pass sends her one clear message: I am safe with this man. And when a woman feels that, her desire doesn't just grow, it attaches. Now let's move forward, because the final sign is where attraction turns into full psychological gravity, the kind that keeps you in her mind long after you leave the room. Sign 6. Controlled absence multiplies your power. The weak man fears distance. He believes, if I'm not present, she'll forget me. But true power works in reverse. The man who understands attraction knows absence isn't dangerous. Absence is leverage. Let's picture this. You've been seeing a woman for weeks. The connection is strong. Then, you pull back. Not out of anger, not out of game playing, but because you're busy, you're building something. Your mission pulls you away. Suddenly, the dynamic shifts. She checks her phone more often. She revisits your past conversations. She starts creating stories in her mind. Is he losing interest? Is he with someone else? Why hasn't he texted first? Her imagination becomes your most powerful ally. Machiavelli captured this exact principle. What is distant appears greater. What is close appears smaller. The closer you stay, the more familiar you become. The more familiar you become, the more your power fades into the background. But the moment you create space, you grow larger in her mind. Your silence becomes louder than any words. Your absence becomes presence. Here's your action. Do not fear pauses in communication. Let gaps breathe. Let her experience uncertainty. Let her miss your energy. Because every second she spends wondering where you are. She invests emotionally without even realizing it. And when you return, calm, centered, unbothered, her attachment deepens. Not because you begged for it, but because your absence built it. Now let's close this chapter. Because what we've just uncovered isn't about charm. It's about the very blueprint of masculine power. Now listen carefully. There is a level where attraction stops being a game, where you no longer negotiate for attention, where you no longer perform for approval, where your presence itself becomes a force she feels before you say a word. Because real power doesn't need to convince. Real power doesn't chase. Real power makes the world adjust in silence. Machiavelli understood something that most never grasp. The man who controls himself controls everything around him. He doesn't flood her with words. He doesn't give endless reassurance. He simply exists as a standard she can't fully reach. You become her question mark, her mystery, her unresolved obsession. She wonders what you're thinking. She replays every detail you never explained. She feels your distance more than she ever felt another man's presence. Because what remains slightly out of reach dominates the mind. While average men try to impress, you hold back. While others try to explain, you let her imagination work. While others seek validation, you remain sovereign. That's where true desire lives, in the tension of not fully having you, in the fear of losing what she never fully owned. And when you master this, you stop playing her game. You become the game. This is not about women. This is not about dating. This is about building yourself into the kind of man who commands energy by existence alone. You walk into any room, and the dynamic shifts. You speak, and people listen. You stay silent, and they still feel your weight. That is the highest form of attraction. That is the level most men will never touch. But you're no longer one of them. Now you've seen it. Now you feel it. And once you feel it, you never go back. If this opened your eyes and you're serious about becoming the man who's in full control of his life, my book is now available. The Undeniable Man, Built to be Chosen. It's a strategic guide for men who want to attract, lead, and dominate in their love life and beyond. Whether you're single or in a relationship, no fluff, no tricks, just pure, powerful strategy that will set you apart from 99% of men, and that you will actually use every day. The link is in the description. And if this video spoke to you, Don't just keep your thoughts in your head. Write a comment, even just a few words. It helps you remember these lessons, and it might help someone else too. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this content, and share it with someone who, in your eyes, needs it right now. Just trust your instinct. We're all trying to get clearer, more solid inside. So let's build minds that don't break.